Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Daily Download. I'm your host, Dr. Darrell R. Pulley, and we're knowing the truth today that all is well, that God is doing something wonderful and awesome on the inside of us. And we're just so grateful to be with you for the Daily Download. This is a day that the Lord has made. We are rejoicing and we are glad in it. Yes, happy Thursday, everyone. Know the truth today that God is doing something wonderful in us. Yes, and we're excited about it, for this is a day that the Lord has made. We are rejoicing and we are glad in it. Yes, the Lord promised to daily load us with his benefits, and I'm telling you, this day is already loaded. It is already jam-packed with the lessons and the blessings of God, and I am open and receptive to receive all the good that God has for me right here and right now. And I'm telling you that I am in Orlando, Florida for the Alpha Nu Omega convention. We're celebrating 30 years of Alpha Nu Omega, the Christian alternative for fraternities and sororities. And so I'm not with my technician and engineer, Minister Butler, this morning. So I'm doing it on my own. I pray that you're seeing this as we speak. Give me some hearts, give me some thumbs up, give me some love. Let me know that you're here with me today. And we're talking about fear. We've been talking about fear for some time now. And one of our viewers, Brian T. Jones, gave us some acronyms, some other acronyms for fear. The acronym that we normally use for fear is false evidence appearing real. That's right, we started with that you get some stuff that manifests in the physical world. It appears real to you, and then you begin to react out of feeling that this is real, but it's really not real. It's an illusion. And so Brian T. Jones sent me in my inbox some other acronyms for fear, some that I never heard of. And so we're sharing them with you today because the Bible says that perfect love casts out all fear. And so every day we're choosing to operate in fear, or we're choosing to operate in love. And so one of the other acronyms that we were given for fear is forget everything and run. That's right, I said it. Forget everything and run. And so therefore, fear causes us to forget everything and just run. So you know that you're operating in fear when you're running. When you're running away from something, when you're running away from somebody, you know that you are operating in fear. Let me say that again. One of the ways to know that you're operating in fear is when you are running from someone, running from something. And so we're going to give you some pointers today. Pulley point number one, you know that you're operating in fear when you're running away from God. We know that God is the everywhere, evenly present spirit of absolute good. But sometimes we get the idea that there's some kind of way that we can run away from God. There's some kind of way that we're going to get away from God, get away from God's call on our lives, get away from the presence of God. But David said, where can I go from God's presence? I can't run away from God's presence. If I make my bed in hell, God is there. If I go to the depths of the sea, guess what? God is there too. If I go and take my wings and ascend to the heavens, he says even God is there. So there's nowhere that I can go and not be in the presence of God. And so whenever you feel that you're running away from God, running away from your good, running away from what God has called you to do, where God has told you to go, who God has called you to be, what God has told you to say, that you're operating in fear. And Jonah knew about that, because Jonah, the Lord told him to go to Nineveh and to preach. And Jonah said, no, I'm not doing that. So he began to run in the opposite direction of where God told him to go. And some of us today are like Jonah. We're running in the opposite direction of where God told us to go. And so Jonah went to Tarshish. He got on the ship and he said, I'm going to Tarshish. I'm going in the opposite direction of where God is calling. We know what happened with that. That the storm came, they threw him overboard. He was in the belly of the big fish. But the idea of the story is that he could not run away from God. Eventually, he came to his senses and he had to go to Nineveh and actually do what it is that God has told him. You were created for a purpose. You were created to fulfill God's purpose and plan in your life. So there's no way that you can run away from it. There's no way that you can get away from it. So you might as well just throw up your hands and say, yes, yes, God. Yes to your will, yes to your way, and yes to your your word. So pulley point number one, we know that we're operating in fear when we're trying to run away from God. And so I'm saying, instead of running away from God, how about getting in God's presence? How about running to that awareness of God's presence in your life, in your world, and in your affairs? Pulley point number two. Remember that our acronym today is forget everything and run. And so when we try to run away from God, we forgot that God is the everywhere evenly present spirit of absolute good. That's forgetting who God is, that you can't run away from God. And there is no spot where God is not. All right, pulley point number two. You know that you're operating in fear when you're running away from yourself. When you think that some kind of way that you can run away from your own thoughts, your own feelings, from your own stuff that's going on inside of you, don't you know that everywhere you go, you take you with you? That's right, I said it. Everywhere you go, you take you with you. So there's no way you can run away from yourself. So you might as well deal with the stuff that is going on inside of you, because wherever you go, you take the stuff with you. Wherever you go, you take you with you. And so there's no way that you can run away from yourself. When you're trying to run away from yourself, you've forgotten the truth of who you are. You've forgotten that you are a spiritual being living in a spiritual universe that is run by and governed by spiritual law, which is love, and principles undergirding that law. You forgot that you were made in the image and likeness of God. You forgot who you are. So whenever you're trying to run away from yourself, and that's why a lot of people are addicted to drugs and alcohol and gambling and various things, is because they're trying to escape. They're trying to numb the pain. They're trying to run away from themselves. And I'm telling you, you can't run. You can't hide. There's nowhere that you can go and not take you with you. Because often we think the condition or the situation is outside of us, but the truth is it's inside of us. So there's no way that you can run away from yourself. And you know that you're operating in fear when you're trying to run away, pulley point number one, from God. You know that you're operating in fear, pulley point number two, when you're trying to run away from yourself. Pulley point number three, you know that you're operating in fear, which is forget everything and run, when you are running away from the mirror. That's right, I said it. Running away from the mirror. Every person in your life is a mirror. Every place that you go in your life is a mirror. Everything that's going on in your life is a mirror. And so we think if we make a geographical change and get out of this city and go to another city, that we're going to have a different experience. But the truth is the city, you can't run away from the mirror. You can go from one city to the next, and the new city is going to be reflecting what it is that you were not able to see and accept about yourself. Every person in your life is a mirror. They're holding up a mirror showing you some aspect of yourself. And so you can say, well, I'm not going to talk to these people no more. I'm not going to deal with these people anymore. You know, I'm going to go over here and be with this group. I'm going to go over here and deal with those people. And you know what? You get in different settings, and guess what? You have the same experience, because every person in your life is a mirror. We get into certain things that we're trying to run away from, certain things that we don't want to deal with. And those things show up in different places, different jobs, different relationships, different areas that we're in, because everything in life is a mirror. Whatever it is that you can't see, what's going on inside of you, then there are external people, places, and things that hold up a mirror to you to show you what's going on inside of you. So I'm saying to you today, you can't run away from God, you can't run away from yourself, and you can't run away from the mirror. The only way to change the reflection that you're getting from the mirror is to change the image in the mirror. So you can't change the people, you can't change the places, you can't change the things, but who and what you can change is yourself. Isn't that the serenity prayer? Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so I'm saying to you today, fear means to forget everything and run. If you feel like you're running away from anything, if you feel like you're running, I just want to get away. I want to get away from this situation. I want to get away from this person. I want to get away from this place. Then that means that there's some fear there, because fear gives you the idea of running away. And the only way that you will engage in such a behavior of trying to run away it means that you've forgotten. You've forgotten who you are, you've forgotten who God is, and you've forgotten that every person, place, and thing in your life is a mirror. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of the Daily Download. I hope and pray that this is recording. And I'm saying with you today, as you look into that mirror, pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to what's going on in your life, what's going on in your world, what's going on in your affairs. And so what we're doing is that we're getting rid of the fear. We're releasing the fear and we're letting it go. We're replacing it with love. That's what our scripture is for today. Perfect love casts out all fear. Love causes you to be still and know that I am God. Yes, love causes you to be able to stop running and to be still. And God is calling you into the stillness. God is calling you into the silence. God is calling you into the solitude, to stop forgetting who you are, to stop forgetting the lessons and the blessings that are going on in your life, to stop running and to be still and begin to deal with what's going on in your life. I love you so much. Remember, our goal every day is 500 views. If you haven't gone to the Dr. Darrell R. Pulley page and liked it and follow it, make sure you do that. Also, make sure that you share this with someone, a family member, a friend, a neighbor, a coworker, and let them know about the Daily Download. Let them know to release that fear, to stop forgetting everything and running, and to begin to be still and to really pay attention to what's going on with you. We'll be back tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. For the Daily Download back here in Orlando. We're in Orlando today and tomorrow. And remember, until tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m., that God is doing something wonderful in me and God is doing something wonderful in you. I love you. God bless you. Have a positive and productive